down at some of the same sites, feeding homeless folk downtown in Eakins Oval and other places. They just had an amazing structure, organizational plan, and they really took off and did a tremendous job of working to help feed folk in the city of Philadelphia and provide for their needs, and really expanded that ministry in a big way. I can't remember Brian's last name, but I just deeply appreciated everything that he's done throughout the years to support folk that really need some partnership and some love. So thank you for that ministry, and praying for healing and for everybody doing better.
Yep. So, yeah, we need them in a big way. We need them to be well and well off. So in Dion's name, make a donation. Now, a lot of big news stories yesterday. Monday's usually kind of quiet. You know, Donald Trump has had 6 defense secretaries in 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the most that any president has ever had since they created the position.
Uh-huh.
And you're talking about a time, you're not talking about a time where America's enjoying like unprecedented peace, where it really doesn't matter. We don't have a lot of threats from abroad. But I mean, we got beef with everybody.
Uh-huh.
Right? With the Russians, with the Chinese, with the North Koreans, with pretty much everybody in the Middle East, almost everybody.
Uh-huh.
I mean, so we got, we still have not finished our business in Afghanistan and Iraq, though it has been promised by repeatedly from now 3 administrations. We still have unfinished business there, which is, putting all of us at risk and the persons who live there at risk. And Trump has gone through 6 people. And when you think about their qualifications, I mean, the guy who served the second longest was a 30-plus year executive at Boeing.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I don't think he ever even served in the military or anything. But anyway.
Talk about oligarchy, right?
Yes, like,
oligarchy, yeah.
Let me just find all my billionaire friends. And what do you like? Did you ever go to school? Yeah. Okay, Betsy, then you'll be over education, Secretary of Education.
Yes.
Hey, Ben, did I hear you used to live in the projects? Yes, but I have gifted hands now. Yeah, whatever. Take HUD, bruh. It's just like, are you a millionaire? Yes. Then you can be in my cabinet. Pretty much that was the way he rolled, right?
Yep.
Well, thankfully, Biden is really approaching this in a manner that, I don't even know that, and maybe it's because Barack Obama was a lot younger too, right? But Joe Biden has been around the corner a lot. And so he is really, I think, impressing a lot of people in how he is building this team.
Right.
Not sure if it's going to work, but he has now made an announcement about his Secretary of Defense, which will make retired General Lloyd Austin the first African-American male to hold that position.
Wow.
That's incredible. And he's a dark-skinned brother, so team dark-skinned, we just got one. I just messed up some people who only have heard my voice. You probably thought I was light-skinned. No, I don't look like Tom Joyner. No. So team dark-skinned, we got one. We're back in the game. But no, seriously, and he has an incredible resume, including the fact that he used to be over the U.S. Central Command. He has a lot of experience in the trouble spot areas that our country faces right now, and was a part of those moments as things were being built, as things were going haywire. So what better person than to bring him in? At 67 years old, I'm sure that he's going to have a lot to say about, where we go from here and cleaning up the mess that Donald Trump's 6 defense secretaries helped create through Donald Trump's mind.
Let me just say, though, that the first 5 are no longer there because they were not putting up with his antics, right? Including the very first one, General Mathias, and others that just said, we're not going to do this. We're not. I mean, and even the last one had to talk him off a cliff when he was thinking about going nuclear against Iran right after he lost the election. probably because he was losing his mind, that he was losing. He needed to show that he was still powerful. So I don't envy anybody that was in that role for him. I think that he, they understood how dangerous he was and did not want to. I mean, and several of them actually post-Trump administration really came out after him as well. They were very critical of him, after they came out of being in positions and roles with him. So we look forward to having military policy that's balanced and using the military as little as possible, but doing what's necessary to protect the interest of the nation.
Well, a good defense secretary, though, to your point, recognizes that if it's about defense, that it doesn't always have to. Defense is not always about going out starting a war with somebody.
That's right.
That's what the Hawks do, right? And Trump, which is really funny to me, a guy who has never served. I don't know anybody in his family who's ever served. None of his children have. It doesn't appear that he comes from a family that has a line of offering themselves as service to the country. In fact, his grandfather, who most notably came to America, according to reports when his name was Drumpf, came here because he was running from being drafted in Bavaria.
That's right. That's right.
So it's kind of like, I guess, the legacy. And so it's easy to talk about going off to fight when you send other people's children to potentially be killed.
Right.
And, there are a lot of famous songs about that, I think it's Bill Withers, his old song. But this idea that, you're sending off the poorest and the blackest and the brownest to go and do this dirty work for you, and your hands never get dirty. So it's easy to pontificate, But again, you got a person like Joe Biden whose son served. Who put his life on the line.
Sons.
Oh, they both. Hunter did too.
Hunter did too. Yeah.
Didn't realize that. Thanks. And so when you put your family, when your family has been out there, you approach it with a different sensitivity. But to think that a Trump and a guy from Boeing were like making American defense policy.
Now they were making American deals with defense companies. That's what they were doing. That's exactly what that was doing.
Man,
that was all about business. That was all about business.
Right.
It's like, how do we cut a deal?
Exactly. Right. And so, but now you have someone in here who recognizes that, talking about defense and safety, it does not always come at the barrel of a gun. That, that is not ultimately what makes us safe. So I just appreciate the appointment. And while we're celebrating, folk, shout out to Rashida Jones as well, who is the new president, the new head of MSNBC.
Rashida Jones?
Not the actress.
I'm about to say, what I'm like,
that's what last night Leslie asked me, do you know who Rashida Jones is? I'm like, yeah, Quincy Jones' daughter. She's like, I don't think so, because they just hired a black woman over MSNBC. And I was like, didn't know she had an executive background, but it's actually a different Rashida Jones.
Okay.
Who is also a black woman, who is now the new head of MSNBC.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so MSNBC apparently has created this diversity goal of 50% of its executive force made up of women, 50% people of color. And so they are moving aggressively that way. I've also noticed that a couple of their new shows that are coming up this weekend, Jonathan Capehart has a show and Tiffany Cross has a show. Tiffany Cross's is on Saturday, Capehart's is on Sunday. And so both of them African-American, it seems like they are really trying to further this commitment to lift up not just black folk in the occasional spot of a Morning Joe, but really trying to give black voices some real space, some depth and breadth on MSNBC. And that's only right.
Kawesa just mentioned that she's also a Hamptonian. So, Kawesa, this must be your alma mater. And I think both you and Eric Nixon went to Hampton, if I remember correctly.
That's true.
And so she's a fellow Hamptonian. So, Kawesa, can because we'd like to get a weekend show, too, on MSNBC. Can you hook that up for us? We're just curious.
I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, so right on to the Hampton Pirates, and so another big win for HBCUs making news again. Look, it's 6:20. We're going to be good today. And we're going to take our break right on time. And in a few minutes, we'll come back and go over some of the other big stories that are happening, including COVID vaccines that started. And
You got to mention right.
Absolutely. All right. So we'll be right back on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere, and hit the share button on Facebook Live. We're back up there.
There's a pressing need to strengthen pathways to better jobs in communities of color. That's why Bank of America is investing $1 billion to advance racial equality and economic opportunity.
I'm Jim Dever, Greater Philadelphia Market President for Bank of America. We've partnered with Coded by Kids to connect people to new skills and employment opportunities. It's just one way we're taking action in Greater Philadelphia right now.
Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach with tips to help you stay well. We breathe every day and have been doing so since before we were born. But wait, let's think about this for a moment. Something as simple as breathing can enhance our health and well-being. When we breathe mindfully, we slow down, take deep breaths, and activate our parasympathetic system to relax our bodies. Mindful breathing goes like this. Number 1, find a comfortable place to sit still for a few minutes. Number 2, close your eyes and relax your hands on your thighs. Number 3, take a deep breath in and count to 3. Then exhale your breath and count to 3. Do this 5 times. We sometimes think mindful breathing has to be an intense experience, yet even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at WURDradio.com.
With Internet Essentials from Comcast for only $9.95 a month, you get more. High-speed home internet service included. Peace of mind with xFi Advanced Security included. Access to millions of xFi Wi-Fi hotspots, that's included too. Internet Essentials from Comcast brings you affordable, high-speed internet to your home for only $9.95 a month. When you're connected, you're ready for anything. Visit InternetEssentials.com for more information. Taxes extra. Restrictions apply.
Have you heard about City Council's plan to build more affordable housing, repair existing homes, create jobs, and support small business? The Neighborhood Preservation Initiative will invest $400 million in Philly communities. Read about it at www.phlcouncil.com/NPI.
Want to buy black for the holidays? WURD Radio has got you covered. WURD is proud to present our virtual holiday marketplace online. Support local, small, black-owned businesses through the marketplace and purchase your holiday gifts today. Visit WURDradio.com/marketplace or WURDworks.com/marketplace. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. Still a pretty good ride here in Philadelphia. Early on this Tuesday morning, 95 southbound, Symbolic Building, a bit through the construction, Cotman down through Bridge, late Allegheny through Girard, northbound moving fine. Westbound Vine Expressway, some late Volume Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway, Schuylkill westbound University through the Vine Expressway, getting busy through that work zone. Eastbound 76 in good shape. No major problems on the PA Turnpike or the Blue Route 476 this morning. 42, 55, 295 in New Jersey. Not bad there as of yet. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour with Mark Kelly Tyler and Dwayne David Royster. We're here Monday through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to give you the latest in news, happenings around Philadelphia, and, of course, our opinion. We are grateful for all of you that are here checking us out. Again, if you're watching us via Facebook Live right now, would you just go ahead and hit that share button? Let's get up as many shares as we can to let people hear all the good news and information and conversation that you are enjoying every morning as well. So we deeply appreciate everybody. Just shouting out some of our folk that are listening: to Wanda Starworth, Andre Terry, Mabel Wellborn, Raphael is out there. Francis Williams Johnson, Maisha Boyd, Chardonnay Royster is listening this morning. And so we are grateful. And I know I'm missing some folk here because I lost the feed for a minute, and then I don't have everybody's names that were listening earlier. But we're grateful for all of you being here with us today. So I know you want to go to COVID-19. Well, this is about COVID-19.
This is, yeah, please, please go right in, man.
Letitia Wright.
You should start with Don Cheadle's tweet, but please continue.
So Letitia Wright, who played Suri in Black Panther. She's a British actress. So actually, I wanted to say something earlier when you were talking about Twitter, because this is a whole Twitter thing. So a few days ago, Letitia Wright posted this article, or this video of this guy critiquing, and I don't have all the exact details in front of me, critiquing vaccines. It was really just kind of going at black guy, this preacher. So he posts this, she posts this video, with praying hands, kind of, her endorsement of this whole thing. People start blasting her because there's a whole lot of controversy around black folk and this vaccine, challenges with it. And eventually Don Cheadle sees the tweet. He doesn't watch the video at first. He just sees the tweet, kind of goes in a little bit. Then he backs back out of it. And then he really calls her out on this. He goes back and watches the video, and he's like, this guy's just lying. He's just lying. He's lying. And calls her out on that. And she goes back and begins this whole thing about everybody getting somebody, you don't agree with something, all of a sudden you're getting canceled. Now it's got a lot of controversy because people are questioning whether she'll be able to keep her role in Black Panther 2 as a result of this. So this is a whole thing that's going on right now. And what's deeply concerning is that for black folk, especially black folk in America, I can't talk about the British as much as we can talk about America, but the real challenge is about the Tuskegee experiment, about Henrietta Lacks, about, a lot of people don't even know, Kaiser Permanente had a program back in the late 90s where they were testing new vaccines on kids in California. There were some real challenges with how medicine is being used with black folk and brown folk as well, and that was causing a lot of problems. So anyway, I know you want to go ahead and jump in there because I heard the mic come off.
No, I actually was hitting it on mute, but no, it's so, wow. So she's following this preacher. He's looks like he may be Nigerian born, but I just heard some of his videos. Sounds like he has a British accent. He calls himself a prophet. Tomi Ariyami, I don't know, I can't pronounce it. And so, wow. I mean, this is the problem, right? So it's like, it's this tension between people and the people that they follow who are their religious leaders in a moment.
Uh-huh.
And so I kind of get it. And I don't agree with her or with this guy's post and what he said. But I mean, the first thing it makes you think about is Barack Obama and Jeremiah Wright.
Uh-huh.
It makes you think about the story that I read this morning I was going to try to get to, but it's a good time maybe to interject it, is Archbishop Chaput, the former Archbishop here in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he's gone, super conservative, but who just went on record. It's like, as if anybody cared what you thought, right? But like, if Joe Biden came to me as a Catholic, I would not give him communion, right? Because of his views on abortion. And I mean, so it's like this, but I would give it to Trump, obviously, and his like multiple issues, but this one
not
thing,
even Catholic, right? But not even Catholic.
I mean, just seriously, right? So, I mean, but it's like this complicated thing where it's like where people are trying to share what, in their opinion, is a religious view and not understanding the bigger ramifications of it. So I absolutely disagree with, the things that this guy said and put in God's name. There are transphobic comments in there, anti-vax, all kind of like just ignorant stuff, right? And so, but you have a person who's kind of like searching, and for, being a person who went through my own phases of searching for enlightenment and truth, I recognize that there were moments when I was young and trying to and I visited different kind of churches, and I was here for a few months and there for a few months. How thank God I wasn't on Twitter back then, and so
you and me both.
Yeah, like, oh man, at this great church, click, click. And it's like, 3 months later, it's like, dude, I don't believe you went to that person's church. So I guess I'm saying, I'm trying to understand this in that moment versus a person who is out here trying to make a political statement along the lines of a Donald Trump, where this is that. And so look, but she said it herself best, that we are in a cancel culture, and we're in a culture now that is slow to give that kind of nuanced understanding that I just laid out. That's not where we are. Right now, where we are is that once you cross that line, you cross the Rubicon, it's over. And by over, like you said, we will probably not be seeing her as T'Challa's sister, the mad scientist in Wakanda. The next time we'll see her, she will have to work her way back up, starting as crack whore.
Well, she's actually in a couple of pieces right now, so that are out. I mean, she can recover from this. This is not totally devastating.
But I'm saying, won't they take her back there? It's like, oh, you want to get back in? Yeah, we got the role, crack whore. It's like, whoa, I was T'Challa's sister. I was the son. Yes, but we're gonna make you go all the way back to the beginning. Yeah. And if you do that well enough, we'll let you be single mom with 10 children clinging on you.
I mean, but the part of the reason that happens like that, it has to do with dollars. Right. Bottom line, if people don't think that you are going to say the right thing, even in your own personal life, unless you are known for being a controversial character, then you cost them dollars, and that's why it becomes problematic. Right. The big production companies don't want you if it's going to cost them dollars. That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. It's all about the money. It's all about the money.
Well, it is, but I mean, again, and it's like, but you're not going to get, so the benefit of the doubt these days, you're not going to get that anymore, right? And so it's certainly fair game to go after him, this so-called prophet, and the crap he is spewing, because he is not some young impressionable person who doesn't know better, right? But this is kind of like, we went through this with a number of our athletes earlier this year, who were, in their moments of being woke. This is like the Deshaun Jackson controversy and everyone else, where it's like you get a little bit of truth and you don't fully understand. It's not just what you're sharing, but it's also who you are. So some of these folk don't understand how big their platform is. Right. And so it's one thing for just like anybody on the street to post and share it. It's something else when you do it. So, that's kind of my instant reaction to this.
No, I got you. It's all good. Yeah, Tawana, just to let you know, it was a tweet that she shared. Letitia Wright, you can find her on Twitter. Yeah. And I think she's pulled it down. She's pulled down the video and the tweet since then. But it was out there for long enough that people captured it and were posting back on it at the same time.
She's canceled her Twitter feed. She's gone off of Instagram. So, I mean, like, literally, she has been driven off the set.
Yeah, it won't last forever. But, I mean, it's for a moment.
Oh man, listen, she'll
go hang out with Dion.
She might not be on till it may be when she's 80 years old that she's back on, like Dion. Like, I'm finally back on Twitter now, and because again, folk have, it's this low tolerance for people who are learning, and so there's a way that you can share with somebody and teach them, and if somebody proves to you that they don't want to be teachable, then that's a whole different story. But apparently she's like gone and she's off the set. So, right on, Bernita said that Dr. Jeremiah Wright preached on Sunday at his home church and referenced Obama.
You heard about the book, right? You heard about what he said.
Yeah, and I just read an article this weekend about that. Who was the author of the article? Did you read it?
Well, it was one by Alan Bozak. So Alan Bozak went in on Obama big time. Went in big time on Obama.
I saw that. I didn't appreciate that.
Well, he's South African, so that's the other piece. I mean, he's a brilliant theologian. But yeah, I mean, he just really went in. And he was defending his friend, though. He was defending Dr. Wright, and I get it.
Yeah. See, so Bozak, if you haven't seen it, there's a video where he just does an epic takedown of Barack Obama. I mean, it's just brutal. I mean, it is brutal. It makes Cornel West look like a fanboy of Obama. It makes Tavis Smiley look like Obama's best friend. I mean, It's the most brutal takedown of Obama I have ever seen by a black man. And I love Alan Bozak. I mean, who doesn't? But I felt like it was just, it felt very personal. It was like an attack piece, right? Where I didn't think you had to do that to Obama to lift up Jeremiah Wright.
Well, but I think the critique, though, is that Obama attacked Wright in his new book. And at this point, he could have just let that go and just moved on. But he gave 2 pages to Dr. Wright, and it wasn't ever that he was affirming him ever. He attacked him the whole time.
Even though he bit off of Jeremiah Wright's sermon, The Audacity of Hope.
Yes, he did.
So he made that the title of his book. That is a Jeremiah Wright sermon.
That's right. Used to be played on this station. On this station at 5:30 in the morning. I
use that sermon in my preaching courses as a classic sermon in sermon construction. It's that beautiful the way that it is put together. And Obama took that title, The Audacity of Hope, and created an entire political career and ran on hope.
That's right.
And won on hope. And yeah, I mean, let's be honest, he did. He played his preacher. And as a pastor, I'd be kind of like, I'd feel some kind of way if like one of my members did that to me, like, Negro, please. But the way Bozak goes in is just, I don't know, it just feels like it just kind of, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I didn't appreciate it. But that's just me. I'm sure a lot of folk had no problems with it because for a lot of folk, Obama did nothing for black folk and is deserving of no recognition. I don't think you have to throw Obama nor Jeremiah Wright out. I think there's room at the family picnic for both.
That's right. Well, I mean, you always got those cousins that always got those cousins that are just, and those uncles that you just sort of like, okay, and keep on rolling.
Well, you also have people who make their name off of talking about other people. Because we ain't talking about Bozak for Bozak stuff. Hey, there's one other thing before we go to break. We got to get Michael Africa on this week.
Okay.
From Move. So Move is doing a documentary. They've done a documentary with HBO.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I hadn't even heard about that. So there's a great piece that was posted a few days ago, and they're doing a drive-through exhibit. Well, actually, I guess it was last weekend, so we missed it. But it was a drive-through exhibit to help lift up the Move documentary, which is going to be called 40 Years a Prisoner. And, you think about Move and just the ways in which those families have continually just kind of been impacted by, police violence. It's still not lost on me. And at some point, I would love to talk to Pam Africa as well on the show. Because Walter Wallace was shot and killed in West Philadelphia, Southwest Philadelphia, not many blocks away from the Move house. That's right. the neighborhood he grew up in. And in fact, was killed in front of Pam Africa's car. Right in front of her house. She lived on the same block. She lives on the same block as Walter Wallace lived. Said that when I talked to her, said that she saw him earlier in the day because there was police activity earlier in the day that led up to it, or maybe she saw the police when she left. The cops were there at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, came back multiple times during the day. And to think that, Pam Africa, a person so centrally involved in Move, and then this next huge story out of Philadelphia happens right in front of her house. Wow, man, you can't, you can't make stuff up.
Yeah, I mean, 40 years, in biblical terms, is a generation, and nothing's changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, nothing's changed. 40 years, and nothing's changed.
All right, well, in spite of all of that we just laid out, Asa Khalif says he wants to go back to Obama and Jeremiah Wright. Asa, standing up for the preachers. Appreciate that, Asa. Asa says, Obama turned on his pastor, the legendary Jeremiah Wright. No room for him at the cookout. He can have a plate to go.
Now, who's getting the plate to go? Is it Jeremiah Wright or is it Obama getting the plate to go?
It's Obama, of course.
It's Obama. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure now.
What are you talking about? Who? Well, one thing I'll say is at least Asa gave him a plate to go. That's when you know you're not totally cut off from the fam.
I got you. Well, look, Raphael's in here talking about that Obama's a narcissist. So he's got narcissistic qualities. Thanks, Raphael. That was a good one this morning. That was a good one.
All right. Hey, what's up, Tawanda? Glad to see everybody on this morning as well. Viola, glad to see you, Franny, and glad to see you, Andre. Glad to see all of you all. What's up, Karen? And everyone else, Roberta, glad to see you, Rashad, Bay, and the rest of you. We got to take a quick break. If we have not touched on the story that you want, put it in the chat, and we'll be sure to get to it. But we got to talk about the armed thugs who showed up in Michigan. And by armed thugs, I mean the Trump supporters who came with guns and surrounded the Secretary of State's house as she was just trying to hang Christmas lights. That's how you know they weren't black, because they're still alive. I told you that's my new thing, right? Yeah. You read a news story, it's like, tell me the story, I'll tell you if they were black or not. Use their car to try to run over the police and got arrested later? No, they were not black.
Yes.
Reached for a cell phone, still around to tell about it? They were not black. Yes. Spoke back in a disrespectful way to the police officer and they're still here to talk about it? Not black. I could go on forever, but I won't because we're at the break. We'll be right back on the other side. It's the Power Hour.
Now, a Word Radio Vote Beat update. Here's Word Radio Vote Beat update reporter, Sojourner Ahebe.
I'm Sojourner Ahebe with today's election coverage report. Linda Hayden is 75 years old, and she's one of the 6 million African Americans who left the rural South in the advent of the Great Migration.
The first time I voted, I was 20 years old. Age was 18, but since I was black, I was not eligible to vote until 1965.
That is until she moved to Philadelphia in the early 60s and cast her first ballot in the city shortly before the passage of the Voting Rights Act. The year was 1964. She was 20 and remembers voting for Lyndon B. Johnson in that presidential election.
I was 16 years old when I left. I came to live with my sister.
With a child on the way, she dropped out of school to find work so she could support her family. Retired now, she worked for 25 years as a school bus driver, and she's one of the 500,000 adults in the city who struggle to read. Catalina Gonzalez is the Senior Manager of Adult Education Services in Philadelphia.
We know that over 500,000 ages 16 and over are struggling to perform basic reading, writing, and math skills.
That's more than a quarter of Philadelphia adults who struggle to read, but they still vote. Hayden has been voting for over 55 years.
I have voters' registration papers at my home. If I know you're turning 18, I make sure you register so you will be able to vote.
But the obstacles to voting when you have low literacy skills still abound. Marcus Hall is an instructor at the Community Learning Center, one of the many city agencies that provide educational resources to low literacy adults in Philadelphia.
Reading the instructions and getting and understanding like where to sign, what not to do, what not to put anything here, what type of ink to use, and like all that stuff, it absolutely takes a certain level of comprehension.
Hayden voted by mail this year and had her daughter help her fill out her ballot. Not everyone has that support, but City Commissioner Lisa Deely says every voter in Pennsylvania has the right to request assistance, and ballot numbers in particular have been the saving grace for many voters who struggle to read.
You know, people oftentimes use the ballot number as a way to remember to identify the candidates that they choose to support and to vote for.
Philadelphia's poverty rate is double the national average, and research shows the link between low literacy, poverty, poor health, and likelihood of incarceration. In addition, more than half of Hall's adult learners are low income. A sizable portion were formerly incarcerated, and many of them struggle with homelessness. Despite the mounting obstacles, low literacy adults are beating the odds. Hayden enrolled in classes at the Community Learning Center 4 years ago at 71 years old. Now she's studying to get her GED. But she wants you to remember one thing.
I've always believed that voting was and is important. So anyone that's turning 18 this year, please register to vote.
In Philadelphia, Sojourner Ahebe, WURD Radio.
This was a Word Radio Vote Beat update, presented in partnership with VoteBeat. Keep your dial locked to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent, black media.
Have you heard about City Council's plan to build more affordable housing, repair existing homes, create jobs, and support small business? The Neighborhood Preservation Initiative will invest $400 million in Philly communities. Read about it at www.phlcouncil.com/NPI.
In Pennsylvania, it's now illegal to sell tobacco products, including cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco, vapes, or electronic cigarettes to anyone under 21. Stores can get fined up to $1,000 for selling tobacco to someone who is underage. Know the law. Check IDs. Post your retailer license. Make sure only employees have access to tobacco products, and only sell tobacco products to customers aged 21 and older. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Always Best Care is a great place to work. Flexibility,
leadership, purpose,
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity, inclusion, compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online at teamgreenabc.com or call 267-909-9248.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report's sponsored by the Empire State Building. Some busy spots building. Schuylkill Expressway, westbound University through the Vine, now jammed up through construction eastbound. Not bad yet. Westbound Vine Expressway a bit slow from the Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. I-95 southbound Cotman through Bridge. Delays there again through construction. A little slow Allegheny through Girard. Northbound 95 moving fine. Pennsylvania Turnpike westbound west of Norristown. An accident being worked on off to the right of mile marker 331.6. 55 northbound Deptford into 42 a bit busy. Route 70 both ways between Route 38 and Cuthbert Boulevard. Restrictions there down power cables from an accident we had yesterday. Looking for a safe way to have an adventure? The Empire State Building Observatory is open. Join them now and enjoy great outdoor open-air 360-degree views. Secure your reservation today at EmpireStateBuilding.com. Open daily. Availability is limited. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a Word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Blustery and cold weather today. We'll see bright sunny skies and a high of 40 this afternoon, but with gusty northwesterly winds, 40 will feel like it's in the low 30s. Mostly cloudy skies tomorrow, 29 the low, 44 the high. A chance of a scattered shower north and west on Wednesday. Then sunshine for Thursday and a little bit warmer. High of 52 after morning temperatures in the mid-30s. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
You're listening to Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. Mark Kelly, Tyler, and Dwayne Royster. You want to buy black for the holidays? We've got you covered. Word Radio is proud to present our virtual holiday marketplace online. Support local small black-owned businesses through the marketplace and purchase your holiday gifts today. Go to wordradio.com/marketplace or wordworks.com/marketplace. All right, sir.
Man, I have no words. That break was like a segment. We were gone for like so long. I went and made pancakes, bacon, and eggs. Ate it and came back and went back for coffee. That's like, what is...
Let's get to the story, man. We don't have much time.
Jeez, that's just brutal. What story? Good morning to the Power Hour. We offer commercial breaks. I'm sorry. So Donald Trump is apparently lobbying now the Pennsylvania House Speaker about overturning his loss. In recent days, apparently he's been making calls to Brian Cutler. Now, Trump's people say, oh, he's just calling for information. You know, just, hey, just want to know, what are our options here? Well, pretty much none. It's been certified. It's done. It's a wrap. Other sources say, no. Trump is saying that, you know, he wants them to actually come back, reconvene, and do something.
Yes.
Now, the problem for him is the only way they can come back at this point, because they're on recess, is to be called by the governor. That's Governor Tom Wolf. That's the Democratic governor, Tom Wolf, who's the only person who could call them back. So even if there was a Hail Mary to be made, you can't even come back legally to come. I mean, it's just, you know, this is just like, I don't even know how you put this in words, what this president is doing. All of this because he is just, you know, afraid to deal with what everyone who really knows him close says, you know, publicly losing at something. That his greatest fear is losing more than anything else, which is why I kind of thought that he should have quit after the first time, as opposed to even run the risk. He could have walked out and declared, I'm a winner. I came to fix a broken system. I fixed it, and it's all good. I'm going back to my beautiful life, and not even run the risk. I thought he put himself in this position. I mean, all that would have been a lie, but at least in his mind, he could have kept it intact. And so now what we're watching, the circling of the drain, is a man who just cannot come to grips with what has actually happened.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we should say that not only has he called these folk, he's also done the same thing in Georgia and other places as well, trying to get the governor, both Kemp, and the state speaker of the House in Georgia to reconvene and call back, which they all said they cannot do. But this is the other piece that goes to the story that people don't know about, was that Congressman, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name, a western side of the state, who actually had the lawsuit that's going to the Supreme Court right now. He and the Trump folk also reached out to Republican lawmakers, basically called them out for being cowards, for not doing something. The 64 have sent a letter to the Pennsylvania congressional delegation asking them, when the Electoral College votes, to invalidate Pennsylvania's votes in the Electoral College, right? Because Congress actually has to vote on approving the electors. And so they basically asked the Pennsylvania delegation, mostly the Republican delegation, to invalidate the electors when they get there. Now, Pat Toomey said he's not going to do that. The election's done. But we don't know about some of the other congressional leaders, including one of the congressional leaders who happens to be a part of this lawsuit that's going before the Supreme Court right now. So there is this ongoing saga in Pennsylvania with Republican leadership. You know, Cutler, Corman, and crew from Harrisburg have basically said there was nothing they could do. Then they get called by cowards out by Trump leaders and Trump administrators. And then they send 64 members of the Republican Party who lead our state level government, have signed off on this letter and sent this letter off to the congressional delegation. So I think we should be very wary of that there are 64 members of the Republican Party who are in leadership in this country that are basically trying to disenfranchise 2.5 million people. And I think they have to be held accountable for that.
Including Martina White, who is from Philadelphia, Republican out of the Northeast, who is pretty much like the darling of the Fraternal Order of Police here in the city. So she too signed this letter, which basically seeks to invalidate black votes, right? I mean, this is the modern version of the poll tax, the modern version of you know, guess how many marbles are in this, you know, jar before we can let you vote. This is the modern version of the literacy test and all these other ways that were done to create a climate where black people could not vote. And when that didn't work, they just outright just threatened you with death. And when that didn't work, they just killed you. And so here we have today, you know, letters like this saying that the vote in Pennsylvania and in Georgia and in Michigan and in Wisconsin should be thrown out. Why? Because of black mail-in votes by and large.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't work, we go to places like the Secretary of State's home in Michigan, as you lifted up yesterday. And I told you I must have missed that part about the long guns that, you know, as she's hanging Christmas tree lights, they circle her house with guns, to use their First Amendment right. Your First Amendment right showing up at her house, you don't need guns to show up at her house. I mean, you just don't. And so if you want to go protest, that's one thing. But to show up in that way, that is what we call voter suppression and voter intimidation, because it is connected to a history. The same people that you represent today, we can take you back to a history of people doing that in the past, not so long ago, where those guns were not just for show and decoration, but were used to shoot and kill people. And so, I mean, that is what is so problematic about this moment, and shame on all of these Republicans who signed this, trying to invalidate black votes. We won, get over it. And as Dionne Warwick said at the beginning of this show on her Twitter feed, if you don't like it, go deal with it.
So let me just say this. Thanks, Tawanda. Yes, it was Congressman Kelly from the western side of the state that actually has been pursuing this lawsuit with the U.S. Supreme Court. All right, y'all. We got to get ready to go. Thank you for listening to the Power Hour today. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. The latest in news, happenings around Philadelphia, and, of course, our opinions. Stay tuned for Wake Up with Word with Solomon Jones. Thank you, Kwesa. Thank you, Mark Tyler, for everything that you do. And listen, go out, change the damn world. If you don't, nobody else will. Peace.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun.